11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
This is going to bring the microphone up. Oh, maybe not. Well, give me some feedback if this is working or not. And we're on all three platforms, so we don't have any comments yet, but when they come up, we'll see what happens. There's Pat and Bunker saying, hey, welcome. And I'm getting some feedback that you can hear me. All right, thanks. So I'm guessing it's not this boom microphone. I can move it out of the way. It's the laptop over here probably, so I don't know if that helps or not. Anyway, I figured I'd go live to test out the Facebook, since the Facebook has allowed some people to come back to it or to start using it for some of us. Let's see if we get any comments from the Facebook side. I'm trying to see what it even looks like on Facebook. I am fairly new to Facebook. I've had Facebook forever, but I hate Facebook, so mainly because they hate us, or they have hated us, so I don't pay much attention to it. But here is the link to it if anybody's interested in testing it, if you're willing to test it. There's the link. Otherwise, throw me some topics or something. We'll chat. This is an actual, oh, look at that. It didn't post to Facebook. I wonder why that is. Let's see if this will. I'm just playing with some stuff on my end, sorry. So, yeah, I don't see, thanks. Got Snob's comment over here. But when I comment, well, it shows up on the screen. I guess it wouldn't show up anywhere else. Well, that's not true. If I type in here, it would be interesting to see it show up over here. It is not showing up over here. How come? Oh, okay. I was going to say, how come I can see Woods over here, but not over here? But I do. So thanks, everybody, for showing up on the Facebook side. You don't have to type over there if you don't want. I don't care, wherever it's more comfortable for you to type. I just wanted to see if it worked or what. Missile silo drone video coming soon. I posted a couple. So what I did is I've learned there's an app for the phone that lets me edit drone footage way faster, because it lets the AI robots go in. You just point it at the videos, and the AI robots go in and find the good parts of the video, I guess. So what I'm going to do is shut this down. I was going to do some work. If it gets boring, I'm going to end up doing work here because I'm supposed to be doing work right now. But instead, oh, that didn't work at all. Let me delete this real quick. I was trying to drag and drop something that can't be dragged and dropped, I guess. But I can open this in a new tab and then drag it over here. That'll work. And then I'll share this screen. And anyway, so I've been taking the drone with me now that I'm a pilot. I can use the video. And since I can use the video, I might as well take the drones with me. So let me get me off the screen here. So I've been taking the drones with me all the time. I can put the drone video into the software and it goes in and gets like the good stuff. It lets me fiddle with it, so I have to fiddle with it a little bit. But so far I'm thinking it saves me like 70% of the time, or it's maybe 70% faster. Let me get rid of this banner nobody cares about. I'll put this banner up. This one is probably copyrighted audio. Probably shouldn't have played that audio. But that is the, whoa. So that's the, a rainbow in the desert, actually. And then this one, I got that. So this one here is the racing our RC car around. And this video, or this audio, I made with AI, so I should be able to play this audio. So that's a big concrete slab that was probably like either a maintenance building or maybe a security building, some sort of facilities for probably the whole squadron, because not every silo had this concrete pad. Some of them did, some of them didn't. There is actually, which one? No, I think the museum is the command center, and the museum itself is the command building. So the squadrons are 9 silos, and there's 2 squadrons in Tucson, 2 in Kansas, and 2 in Arkansas. And I guess I don't need this shit on the screen. Each squadron has a command center. Like one of the silos had more stuff on it. This isn't one of those. This is more stuff, but like, am I still saying stuff? I think I have this on solo. There we go. Actually, I can just pull this off the screen. So I'm not sure what that slab is, but I'm guessing some kind of maintenance building, or like I say, maybe a security building. To find a way in. Oh no. So anyway, let me see if I can just pull the raw video up, actually. That's probably what I'll do. And then show you what I'm talking about. So I was out there filming on that pad. Like I say, I don't really know what that pad is, but it's not on the silo. It's adjacent to the silo. It's like a different set of property. So we can go on that pad all we want. I have a state trust land permit, so I can go there. But the silo itself is, sorry, I'm trying to talk and think and click at the same time here. We went there, this one, and this one, and then one of these will say Titan training. Okay. I actually have a couple of silos that I've been filming on recently here. So I'll pull this over and pull it up on screen while I'm talking. So this is that same thing, that same pad. There's the van on the pad that I'm talking about. But then the silo is over here. And these guys were, not sure, probably a canine SWAT team or something. And what I wanted to do is get footage, what I'm looking to do is get footage of people doing something out there. And in this case, I had a place, let me get me off the screen again and make this full screen. I had a place where I had enough room out there that I could do, is this a pan? I don't know what this is called when you go left to right and then keep focused on a place. But we'll just use this point here as an area. But you see how these dudes are walking around? They're out there doing some kind of like search and rescue training, or maybe SWAT training, or maybe canine training or something like that. Let me do a quick print screen of this area here, and then we can zoom in and talk about this silo a little bit. Oh crap, what happened here? So we'll just open up Paint, paste, bring this thing up full screen, and we can go ahead and zoom in. So what we're looking at is the silo, and if I was a little bit higher in the air, you could see that this is a square. Let me go ahead and plot out that square since I'm in Paint after all. The square should be something like this. I don't know if Packrat has been to this silo or not. So it's something like this. It's kind of hard to see this corner of it because it's grown over. It's something like this. This would have been an area where they dumped their fuel. the Titan IIs are an interesting silo or an interesting intercontinental ballistic missile because they have a liquid fuel that sits on the outside of the silo most of the time. And every once in a while they had to dump it and they would dump it into there. So that's, you wouldn't want to be over here. And guess what's over here? A little pond where cows drink. So there you go. Keep eating meat. Keep eating cow meat. There you go. So anyway, this is the silo itself. This is the silo, but this is like a parking lot where some people are parked. When we go in here, what we're looking at is, now I'll switch to this and maybe just a squiggly line and a little bit thicker squiggly line. So this part here is the stairway to get in. But because the county probably used all the sand in this area to build the roads or something, this part has been exposed. But this would be the stairway to go in to the silo. And if you watch like a movie or something, at the top of this stairway, you'd have to get buzzed in, and then there's like a telephone up here, and then you would walk down this thing, and at the bottom, which is probably closer to like still underground quite a ways, at the bottom would be the tunnel, and the entrance to that tunnel is one of those big giant blast doors. So there would be a blast door there, and then this tunnel would intersect with this tunnel, which is going to the actual silo we'll zoom out to in a second. And then there'd be like a chamber here, and this is where there's a giant diesel generator underground. And depending on which, I don't know what they did to this one, so I've never been in it. But this one would have, or they would have like basically a giant train engine down here to run the thing if they ever needed it. Anyhow, then you'd have the dome, and this side would be connected to this big 3-story dome. 1, 2, 3. And that's what's exposed up here is the top of the dome. And then from the dome, you would have just, well, there'd be an escape hatch. And this could be the escape hatch, actually. It's not, though. The escape hatch is over here. Wait, could this be the escape hatch? There's no way the tunnel's that long. The escape hatch would have to be like close over here, and it must be gone. But there would be like cables running out to these. And these are the antennas that would pop up out of the ground. So what we're looking there is like the most of the silo, and then this would be the actual intercontinental ballistic missile silo, would be like 9 stories deep somewhere over here. And the roof to this, what they would do is take the blast doors, which were however many tons of concrete, and they would blow the shit out of them. There's these doors, there's these walkways, I guess, when the missile's in here, they put these walkways down. So they would put down all the walkways and put some metal across there, like just throw scrap metal across there. Then they'd blow the shit out of the blast door, throw it on top of there, and it would, clog up the top of the silo. And then they would just scoop dirt on top of it. So that's what we're talking about here. Like there's a 9-story hole in the ground with some shit capped on top, and everybody just walks around on top of it, but whatever. And then you got this tunnel. Now the tunnel had a shit ton of wire in it, like millions of dollars worth of wire. And the companies that were contracted to destroy these things would often take that tunnel, all the copper in that tunnel, and keep it because it was, like a bonus. They could keep all that metal if they wanted it. The egg had a ton of metal in it. They just couldn't do nothing about it. It was too big. And these things are concrete pillars that have antennas in them. And those antennas would shoot up after a nuclear war. So you'd have one antenna to shoot up after the nuclear war, then another nuclear war would happen, and you'd have a second antenna, and then like another nuclear war would happen, and then you'd have a third antenna or something like that. But those antennas are just like in their own little silos over here, and nobody bothered to do anything with those except fill them with concrete. I'm pretty sure they're destroyed. I've never heard anybody doing anything with those. But this was all buried, and the only thing you would have ever seen from the roof was a big blast door over here, and like an entrance to this, which was like a hole in the ground, and like a shed somewhere maybe. and then little things on the corners that would be the radar, and that would alert cops to come get you if you were walking around out here. But what's happened is the city owns these, I think, city or the county, somebody owns these, and they use the sand in them to make roads and stuff. So this one's just exposed because they've pulled so much sand out of it. So they go out there and train and do stuff, and I'm standing over here next to it with my drone up in the air. So that's a little history of the Titan II missile silo and why I'm looking at it over here. So there's 9 of them in Tucson. No, there's 18 of them in Tucson. 2 squadrons of 9 of them on the south side of town and 9 of them on the north side of town. And this is 571-4, I think. What is it? It's 571-4. And I'll put the video back up again. So what I'm doing is watching these guys train, and I'm going to run it through the software and do a tilt shift on it. And that's, it makes it look like they're made out of claymation or something. Why is it not playing for me? The computers should be good enough to play. That's weird. What's wrong? Why isn't it not playing? Is it because we're live? Am I still live? All right, so let's see. Find a way in. So there's, in Tucson, there are, like I say, 18 of them. I've been in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 of them, but not this one. This one isn't open. This one, you can go on it and you can dink around on it. I may or may not have dinked around on it before, but it is unique in that it's accessible. You can get to it without too much trouble, and most of it is exposed, and you can walk up on the metal part, and it's kind of neat. So it's neat, and it's not destroyed or nothing. It's hard to destroy a missile silo, obviously, but people try, and this one does have some pretty big holes. Like, I don't know how they got giant holes. Like, if you want to see some interesting shit, I've got some pictures somewhere of the big dinks that are in this thing. This is like a 3-inch metal skin on the top of that egg, and somehow there's like a big gouge out of it. So I'm guessing when they tried to destroy it, or maybe somebody had a bet with a bulldozer or something, but somebody put a big gouge in it. But aside from that, it's pretty hard to destroy these things. There's a lot of gunfire on them and stuff, and it doesn't do anything to them. But this one is, like I say, owned by the county. I did get a video of the museum. So since we're sitting here, let's see if this one will play. This is just yesterday, I think. I went out by the Titan Museum. So there's 18 of them, and the command center for the squadron south of Tucson was turned into a museum. It's the only one that is still, it's not operational, obviously, but it's still intact, and people can go in it. You can go and take a tour of it. This is the road to it. And what's cool is this gives you an idea of what they would have been like in real life, because nowadays the roads are all basically abandoned, but the road is about that long from the main road because they wanted them to be off the beaten path. So they have like this long road going to them. And when you can identify them on a map or something, because they'll have this big square area here, which was their hard antenna, which is the antenna that was put up so that they could communicate with each other before the internet, like before the nuclear war. And then when we were just looking at that one that's exposed, this guy's antenna, here, I'm going to pause it. This is the actual working silo. Those are the blast doors, and they moved everything around. The door to get in it's kind of right over here. You just can't see it really good because it's right behind this building. Maybe I'll move a little. Well, I don't really move because I'm just going up. But the door to get in is just kind of behind the corner of the museum here. And the blast doors is all you would normally see. But there's this big perimeter with LiDAR, like radar, that would, know if anybody's dinking around out there. Now, this one has a reservoir for dumping its fuel, and that's right over here. So they always look like a big square with a little piece, and that piece is where they dump their fuel. When they were still active, they had another piece with the antenna, but because the antenna didn't, there's nothing remaining from the antenna. The old ones, you can't tell where the antenna was unless you really look hard. But you can always tell the fence line from the old one still. You can always tell the pads. So what we're looking at here is the 9-story silo is underneath this blast doors. And there's always one pad over here and one pad over here, kind of perpendicular to them, or whatever that would be, at right angles to each other. And one of them is one fuel and the other one is the other fuel. And that's where their fuel would be. When they told them, push the button, click, 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 the fuel would drop into so the intercontinental ballistic missile inside is like an empty soda can. It like its fuel wasn't in it. When it would launch or whatever, it had its fuel in it all the time. It would have collapsed if it didn't have its fuel in it. Like, it needed its fuel to exist, but they needed these tanks outside in order to like flush it and deal with it and screw around. So that's what these pads were for. And those are the things that you still see, are those pads. And then wherever that reservoir is where they would dump the shit. Now, I don't know if they actually dumped the shit or they just had a place to dump it, because it's all horrible material. It's all horrible chemicals and stuff. Now at the museum, they have like a helicopter. They got some vehicles. They've got these, I don't know what to call them, like display areas where they have some of the engines and things outside. And then they have all the whole setup, like if they were first building the thing, essentially. Like, they have every single piece of equipment they could have ever used. They also have all the antennas and things up that can go up. So I think you actually see those emergency antennas up over here in this one. That's what those white things are, I think. And for whatever reason, I don't think they move those up and down, although that would be cool. Anyway, so I went out there and just took off the ground, I should say, and then wanted to get some video of the museum, because, like I say, it gives you an idea. So you could see when the thing was active, they'd have the square fence around it. I forget what they are, 40 acres or an acre or whatever they are. And then you get this road that goes around the whole thing. Are they 4 acres? I don't remember how big this is. But you can kind of still see on most of them where the fence square part is, and then the road. And that's where they would patrol around it or whatever. Now on this one, it was the command center. So the command center would be like an extra building, and that's what they turned into the museum. And there would never be a parking lot, obviously, but they added a parking lot to it. It was neat because the last time I was out here filming was with a different drone, and a bunch of like hawks or something came over and harassed it, but they didn't this time. So the museum is in just south of Tucson, and you can definitely see the square there. It's south of Tucson, and it's right next to some copper mines. So these are the tailings from copper mines. That is just all the other dirt that they didn't need. And this used to just be flat land, but now it's mountains of just dirt that they pulled out of a hole over here somewhere and dumped over here. And this is like the stuff that wasn't copper. So they move a lot of dirt to get to the copper. This is a VFW hall, which they just put next to the missile silo, I guess. And then that's the road on the way out. And then that's just looking, that's Mexico. If you look a little bit further that way, that's Mexico. That mountain there could be in Mexico. This is about half an hour south of Tucson, and Tucson is about an hour north of Mexico. So it was about a half an hour north of Mexico. And that's where I'm just going straight up from the side of the road right there. And somewhere here I go back up. There's the VFW hall. And one time I used this antenna out here to, do I go over there? Yeah. This is that antenna. You can sit where this truck is if you're a ham radio operator, and you can plug into you've got to go in and sign in, but then you can plug into this antenna and use the antenna at the missile silo to talk to people. It's pretty cool. All right, so that's the missile silo. But yeah, I'll go around and get the rest of them eventually. Those are the ones that I've been closest to recently. Otherwise, I'm not going to drive all around to get these things. Let me remove this, I guess. So now we're talking about missile silos. I've been to all of them, and I've been to all of them. I've been to half of them in Arkansas, and I've been to all of them in Arizona, and I've been to none of them in Kansas yet. I should go to the Kansas ones. The ones in Arkansas were flooded immediately as soon as they turned the power off, they flooded because they are underwater to begin with. And I think the same thing, like half the Kansas ones are underwater. I think only one of the ones in Arizona was in that circumstance. So the ones in Arizona are in the best shape. The ones in Arizona, 1 or 2, 3, 4, 3. So I've been in 1, 2, 3 people owned them and let me in. No, 3 people now own them, and I've been in 3 of them. I've been in those 3 that are owned by private people. One of them I almost bought. That's a whole nother story. 2 of them I almost bought, but that's a whole nother story. You can't get into some of them. 2 of them we got into, let's just say we got into them. And then one of them is a whole nother story that I won't ever talk about because it's a kind of a weird story. But one of them was a guy who would have tours. He bought it and made it into a thing, and then he had tours, and I never got into that one. So I've been into 5 of them, and I never got into the one that everybody else got into because the guy has tours. Hopefully I'll get into that one day. They're all around Tucson. They're about as far away from each other as you would expect that if one of them blew up, they didn't want them to blow up in a chain reaction. So they're as far away from each other as a nuclear bomb would go off and not light the other one on fire, right? So they're like 8 miles or more away from each other or something like that. This is the one, right by here. The one just south of I-10, out by going down to on 83. Let's see. The generator. Oh yeah, you're talking about the generator inside. I can't remember. They said it was the same kind of thing that they'd put on a railroad. It's basically a train engine inside of them. You can definitely buy all kinds of silos for sure. Yeah. Not the ones in Arizona. They all got sold a long time ago. One of them is a church. There's a few that are for sale, but then the rest of them are like owned by the city and state. Not the city, but the state and the county and shit. So I don't think we'll ever be able to buy them. They're not all open. When they got rid of them, with the whatever treaty destroyed them, they had to destroy them, and they hired companies to do that. And the first ones they really destroyed, and then the last ones they didn't destroy as much, let's say. And then a couple of them are barely untouched. So I guess I know of people being in 8 of them, I think. So some of them are pretty bad, but 8 of them are fine. And I've been in a bunch, and a couple of the ones I went in were pretty gross, and then a couple of them looked. I mean, the one that I wanted to buy was. You could film a movie in there. They literally wrote "Gone Fishing" on the whiteboard, and it was still said "Gone Fishing" from like the guy who left last. It was crazy. The radio shit was still in there. The clearing buckets were still in them. Like they just walked away as the Air Force just walked away, and then the company that killed them probably got sick of killing them and got sick of taking stuff out of them. So they just kind of left a lot of stuff in them. So they were some of them were pretty cool inside. Let's see. But there's places, that you can find them for sale. And then there's other things besides Titan 2s. Titan 2s are kind of cool because they're a 9-story deep tunnel, or a 9-story deep silo, which is 9 stories deep, and that's pretty big. You've seen it in the Star Trek movie Search for Spock, Star Trek movie First Contact. They show you it. They filmed it in the silo. So it's pretty big, and each of the 9 floors is probably like 1,000 square feet or something. Like there's a lot to it because they had all this other stuff on each of the floors besides the missile. But then there's like a 200-foot tunnel that goes to the silo. Problem is the contractors took those tunnels, so the tunnels are gone. And then there's like this giant 3-story egg, and the blast doors and all that intersection to the stairs. Some of them, they destroyed the stairs. Some of them they didn't. And others, some of them, like, doesn't matter that they destroyed them because the people that owned them cleaned them up. But anyway, they're a problem because it's 3 stories deep to get into them. And then you're down there. There's other ones like Minutemans, I think, or something, or maybe the Titan ones. And those missiles didn't need a 9-story deep hole in the ground. They were only like burying a building. So they're more like a spider web. And I think they're more fun to own because they're like having 6 garages tied together underground instead of a 9-story hole in the ground that you can't do nothing with. Nobody does anything with the silos. Like, the only people do things with is the living quarters and sometimes the stairways and stuff. But the silos themselves are not recoverable. And if they were, they're probably full of water. So they're gross. And they're probably full of like chemicals and crap. So I don't know of anybody I don't think anybody has ever tried to clear out a 9-story deep Titan silo, except for the museum, which never destroyed theirs. So there's better ones to buy than a Titan, is what I'm saying. Plus, you can only buy Titans in Arizona, Kansas and Arkansas. And like I say, the ones in Kansas and Arkansas are flooded. So there's literally no reason to buy them. You're just buying polluted land, basically. Yep, still alive. Oh, thank you for letting me know. G23's out there. Welcome. It's the UHF and the VHFs came out of the ground. Oh, that could be instead of like one and then the other, like they had 2 different antennas, because that would be true. They'd need different antennas. Yeah, there's definitely some. For a while there, they wouldn't let us film the tours, and then they would. All right, welcome. Kansas ones, let me know. Yep. All right, so I don't know if a silo would be the best thing anymore. When I was really looking into it, I was going to buy one of the Titans because one, I've been in 5 of them, and the ones that were for sale, I've been in. Like, I have been inside of them. I feel like I already own them. But one guy didn't sell it to me, and then I didn't get the other one. But before that, when I worked at AOL, I was going to buy something because of Y2K and all that shit. And what you should buy is, I forget what they are, like AT&T Central Hubs or something they're called. And these were just big rectangle buildings with a lot of power and old connections to the old internet, or the old copper connections to the infrastructure. And they're like all over the place. Like, they're just in strategic places, not even strategic. They're just in places that they needed to put them for the physical characteristics of copper. Like, they just had those things all over the place, and they were just part of the old AT&T infrastructure when everything was still copper wires. And I guess those, once they didn't need them anymore, they just took all the equipment out of them, and they're just really nice concrete buildings with good power and less people interested in them because they're kind of boring. Those are the things to get. Yeah, the Nikes. I think the Nikes, I'm thinking the Nikes, but Nikes were different too. They were more like garages all over a golf. Like, they turn Nike sites into golf courses because they're so big. I don't think you'd buy a Nike base because that would be like trying to buy a whole golf course. Millionaires might buy it. Anyway, so yeah, Gizzard was just live, and I was just thinking, I'm going to check out Facebook. It seems like it's working. I don't know. Earlier, I seen the people commenting, and we did get Facebook indicators. So nobody's talking on Facebook now. Let me go look and see if tell me if anybody's watching on Facebook. No. So I'm still learning. But, it'd be cool if Facebook Live was a thing. But it might be that people only care about shorts on Facebook. Right now, people only care about essentially whatever they call shorts over there. Some pictures. But I'm still playing with stuff. And this is the first live I'm doing. But I'm curious if people are interested in a live show late night that's actual live show and not, something where I'm like, hey, here's our sponsor, and guess what I love? Whatever my sponsor imports from Turkey, like, hey, guess what I love? Whatever optic my sponsor sells. So I ain't got sponsors. I got Patreons. So thanks to the Patreons at the bottom there, they keep our websites going. Our websites will be kicking in. This year is the year to get the websites going again. And with Facebook working, it's actually pretty encouraging. Actually, let me go sit here, and since nobody's saying nothing, I'm going to go check something out. Just talking about Facebook. I want to see how well it's working. It's allowing me to turn things on that I hadn't been able to use in a long time because stupid YouTube definitely won't let us link to gun stuff. And I can link to gun stuff on the Facebook. And I hate Facebook. I don't know if anybody remembers, but I'm no fan of Facebook. But if they're going to allow us to make money, then guess what I'm a fan of? Facebook. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm almost making more money off of Facebook right now than I am off of YouTube. And I'm not making nothing off of YouTube. It's like $100 a month. So it's not like, we're talking money here. But I mean, since Facebook was nothing forever and it's now like $10 basically for a couple of days, that's potential. Cat saying that the Nike bases were not very deep, but very wide. Good tour video on YouTube. Yeah, I've done some work on Nike bases before, and like I say, they're spread out like a golf course. If you could buy like a chunk of one, it would be cool. Nicky bet he was over on the Facebook. Ozzy's out there. Welcome. All right, well, so I'm going to turn this off and see if there's any other. I don't need to go live. It's not like I'm desperate to go live or nothing. However, I'm also pretty bored of some of the stuff that's going on out there. I posted a poll because of how annoyed I am. And let me go get it. I'm going to flip. I don't know why I'm even on this other account. Hold on. I'm on the gear account on YouTube, and I shouldn't be. I should be on this account. But with all this crap with recently going on, I think some people are of the point of view or whatever, are like of the perspective that this is all not a trap necessarily, but this is all engineered, right? Like things happen. They don't just happen out of nowhere. They're happening in reaction to this, and that's happening in reaction to that policy or that governor or that mayor or that whatever's reaction to some policy. And that policy is, some reaction or some bullshit play by somebody to, because of something else. I don't want to get into things because then people start getting all pissed because of whatever side they're on of this stupid bullshit. But essentially, they set everybody up for, something to happen one way or the other, one side or the other. And then they can go, gotcha, look, something happened. And then, and we're talking about people dying and shit. So it's not like I'm trying to make light of it, but I'm pissed and I'm annoyed that people are susceptible to the bullshit. So when does that end, right? Does it end by falling for it harder? No. So I posted a poll. How should we respond? Let me guess, I could put this over here on the screen again. How should we respond when the politicians don't understand the Constitution? I just tried to put it that way because, again, people get so worried about this. It's either my side or their side, or I hate them or I love them bullshit. I'm just trying to talk about the situation here, right? So when politicians say shit we don't like, what are we supposed to do about it, right? Are we fucking helpless to let this cycle repeat on and on and on? Or, do we as individuals have the ability to set our destiny by actions, right? Do we admit that we're powerless and that basically the same thing? Like, there's nothing we can do. The cycle is just going to repeat where it's futile to even consider manipulating it or having any influence on it? Or do we fucking just sit there and milk it? Do we go, yeah, so-and-so said what I don't like, or they said what I like, or they said it again, or can you believe they said it? And let me start thinking, is the first thing you think about your fucking thumbnail, what it's going to look like, or, what you're going to tell AI to make a thumbnail and talk about this shit. So instead of talking about this shit, what's the alternative, right? Well, it's an opportunity to talk to a politician. And if I was sitting here talking to Tony, I'd be bitching at our three-letter organizations at the national level out there, making tens of millions of dollars, are more than happy to put a lawsuit out there, more than happy to, put some meme or some shit on the internet, or some, video talking about how they're pairing up with so-and-so to fight this or that. But how often are they sitting down and doing what back in the day I think lobbyists used to do, or at least the figureheads of the organizations would get on TV and chat. And, we're talking the head of what's his face, everybody hated at NRA, or what's his face's dad that everybody seemed to like at GOA until he got turned off and Eric came along. But we won't talk about that. So back in the day, though, Eric's dad would jump on the news shows and be a representative for the fucking Second Amendment by being somebody who was bilingual. He could fluently speak Spanish whenever he felt like it. Alan Gottlieb also fluently speaks Spanish whenever. Get on Telemundo and chat it up, right? Whenever there was something to be said. Alan Gottlieb lost that a long time ago, or at least the interest to do that, the ability to do that a long time ago. Eric took over when his dad screwed up. Nobody talks about that, compromise or whatever. But again, besides back in the day with what's his face being a lobbyist, do we not have influence with our politicians? Like, are they not our representatives? Like, do we not have the ability to call them to task publicly where they don't get the chance to say they're too busy to talk to us? Like, I don't get it. And I don't understand why, the default for our influencers slash what's the word for them? People, celebrities, people that have the mic right now. Why is the default to just fucking milk this shit, to cash in on this shit? Every time a politician misspeaks, it's an opportunity for us to educate that politician or to educate the consumers of that politician's voice to what's going on. And I noticed that my numbers are going down. People don't want to hear this shit. So that's where we're at, right? Where basically we want to hear the echo chamber shit. We want to hear the back and forth, and we're looking to be the observers. It doesn't have to be that way. There was a time when people considered the system something that they could participate in instead of just observe. And I don't think it was people online educating anyone to that. I think people know that. And I don't think people are disillusioned to that. I think it's maybe a different group of people online than it used to be, who just maybe are younger and haven't experienced the results of pushing, the results of a bunch of people efforting in a direction to see results. But, it's been, I don't know, since 15 or something when we got Illinois got concealed carry. I guess the fight has eased up a bit, but that's been 10 years. There's been quite a time online that the fight was in front of everybody. 15 years of fight. Maybe 10 years of resting and coasting. Are we going to be able to pick up the pace again? I don't know. So anyway, I noticed that we lost a bunch of people and nobody's commenting anymore. Pat in the Bunker took off. Vulcan's out there. Welcome. Let's see. Educate them if they will listen. Fat chance. Well, I don't give a shit. Guess what they will listen to? What do you call them? The polls. They'll listen to whatever the trending. They'll definitely listen to well-articulated positions that catch the ear of their constituents. So it doesn't really matter if the particular politician the particular representative is willing to listen in the long run, in the grand scheme of things. It's defeatist to suggest that when an individual who holds seat temporarily is unable to be reasoned with, that you would give up. When we have a system and we have mechanisms to influence and to affect who's going to be next and what those people who are next are going to be paying attention to. And if you listen to a fairly recent interview with Massey from Eric at Gun Owners of America, the last couple of moments of that interview, Massey says, I want to put out a plea that people understand that just a few phone calls can make a massive difference. A few emails can really make a big difference when the representatives out there are voting or working up new bills and that kind of thing, deciding what bills they're going to champion or not champion. Because, again, a lot of people assume that this is a spectator sport, when in reality it's very much a participatory situation. But it's not to most people's benefit to keep you aware of that. And it's not an easy, like, all you got to do is wish for it and it happens. All you got to do is click once and it happens. It's some stuff that in a lot of ways you put a lot of effort into it and you don't get what you want. You put a lot of effort into it and you get kind of what you wanted. But, I'm not here to, I'm just bitching. So I don't give a shit what people do. I'm going to keep chatting about this kind of stuff. Whether or not I chat about this kind of stuff live with folks is up to y'all. So that's the poll I put up over there. I guess I'll put a link to that poll. It's just on our, what do they call it now? It used to be called the community tab. I think it's called the post tab. Yeah, it's called the post tab now. And it's one of our recent posts here. Just scroll down and find it. Got 18 votes right now. A couple of them, I'm assuming, are people that are just going to be contrary. But the idea there was to hopefully shake people up and make us pissed that what we're getting isn't anything that satisfies. What we're getting is people phoning in content or exploiting the situation. But if you're interested in more than that, squeak, right? Squeaky wheel gets the grease. The content creator who is paying attention, who cares about what's going on, is going to read their comments. So understand that and use them. Use the comment fields if you're interested in seeing different stuff out there. Anyway, nobody's using our comment fields, so I will use that as an indication that everybody's sick of me ranting. So I'm out of here. If you are interested in seeing more of this, then leave a comment about that in the thing. Otherwise, it's just as easy to not do these as it is to do them. I'll end this one, and we'll see y'all in the next one. What are we going to put in for an outro? Even though Patriot's not out there, I think I'll try to put my... I guess I can't put that. I don't have it in here. Oh, no. Wait. I do. Have a good one.
Shit. Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.